I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on the 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, film a plan up and try to put them on it and we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I through the bank, I like the break, but we ain't all about the bread. Open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, travel living on the edge, I must say true, we make this them. We ain't Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, say no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, who no drive yours. Boom! We ain't Global TV to the fullest, one cup of excellence, see me?
Good evening and welcome. It's the evening after the day that it happens. Good evening. Good evening. It's Friday evening. Welcome to Global Television. It's the people's point of view. Today, I just didn't want to drag myself out of the bed and I had a lazy day today. Sorry for my no-show to everything, but I hope you understand that sometime one just wants to have a day where they just do nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we are here this evening. Good evening. And thank you for joining us. Free speech. Once free speech allows them to insult another, upset, criticize, offend, but certainly one free speech doesn't allow them to break the law and think that free speech ought to be protected, or are we moving in a great age of censorship based on our job titles, credential, and social integrity? Good evening to everyone and welcome. I will have controversial views this evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Good evening to everyone on the live. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Good evening to everyone on the X, the Twitch, Facebook, on YouTube. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us on this another Friday evening. Like and share the live, please. Get your fingers running up and down on your phones, please. Give us some like and some shares and let us get the information going out there. Thank you very much. Good evening to Sunshine. Good evening to Beat and Teach. Natalia Freeman. Good evening. Good evening, Prof. Gorgeous Lady. Shauna Smith. Good evening. Good evening. Michelle Lewis Wilson. Good evening. RJ. Real Sweet. Good evening. Good evening. Rosemary Samuels. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to Debbie Jervis, Jamaican Foodie. Good evening. Abina Saduki, JP. Good evening. Joan Brown. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Deborah Cohen. Good evening. Karine Wilson. Good evening and welcome. Patricia Matthews. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Rose. Good evening. Audrey Robson, good evening and welcome. Good evening to everyone on the live. Good evening and welcome. Arlene Benbows, good evening and welcome. Colleen Humphreys, Head Teacher K, good evening and welcome. How are you? Good evening, VM, good evening and welcome. Cousin Myrna, how are you? Good evening and welcome. Carol Sexy Shawdy, good evening and welcome. Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Cousin Primrose Redine, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining. How are you all doing? Free speech. Now, I want to talk about the ITAT issue. I know a lot of people is being robbed by the whole Obia argument. But I mean, is it this where we have gone now where we can't see the satire in anything? We can't see the passing comment in anything anymore? We can't see the joke in anything anymore? Or are we going to be straight jacketed because of our profession? When, since it's not a normal phrase in a Jamaica, at least where I come from, for somebody said to you in a jokingly way, mind me God St. Thomas for you. Come on, Jamaicans. Or the bourgeoisie in the legal profession, especially those of you who are King's Counsel and Queen Counsel, wanna must talk about integrity and a go on like on a work obiafa. Come and challenge me. Those of you at the bar who are King's Counsel and Queen Counsel, you're a member of the Freemason. You have to be a member of the British Freemason Society to be a member of Her Majesty King's or fucking Queen's Council. What's the problem with the bad day using a bad situation to bury a good situation? Yes, Shauna, I thought might get him in a trouble before. However, free speech allows us to be silly. It allows us to offend others. It allows us to insult others. What it does not allow us to do is to incite hatred, violence, and crime, uprising and them, something that defame people. But if one wants to blob their mouth, satirically or otherwise, good God Almighty, our Jamaicans are going to suffer. When since the whole on and I go St. Thomas and St. Mary go walk Obia. Me no holy pound of church people will walk Obia. When me did depend partner jar on a don't hold me back till I make the talk. When me did depend partner jar and Mama Janet can testify to this. I hope I no ring off with phone night and day. Forget Mama Janet number for work Obia phone no kind of thing Mama Janet Obia woman. What on a problem is? It is free speech. It is free speech. Why can't you all look at the bigger picture? When Isaac goes, he wins for Jamaica. Shabadine paired. Isaac won. Violation of your constitutional right with Zozo and state of emergency. Isaac won. Cartel. Isaac won. Isaac is not winning for these people individually. Isaac is winning for all of us rights in Jamaica. So your government cannot violate your rights and put you in a prison and get away with it. It was free speech. The youth was in his celebratory mood and he was just making a passing comment. Why would not take everything so gospel? The liar them in the GLC. The so-called kings or queens council at the GLC, they're a part of the British Freemason cult because you can't be a part of Her Majesty Club and don't be a part of Her Majesty Freemasonry. So, in the upper class of the legal profession, cut the bullshit. Cut the bullshit. On an altar and blood sacrifice, cut the bullshit. On a politician, we go walk up here before no come to the nation. Cut the bullshit. On a pastor with a pan rastum. And I walk up here by night. Cut the bullshit. It was just a passing comment. It was just a passing comment. It's nothing for Jamaica to be taking their knickers in a twist. Look at the victory for Jamaica yesterday. The victory for the protection of the constitutional right, the fundamental right of your children. Why you can't say that? A bad day to bury a good story, is it not? Because the whole of the fucking country is embarrassed by this challenge. The country is embarrassed by the slapdown from the Privy Council. It was a passing comment. Free speech. Just like we can get up and call Camilla Parker Bowles a whore every day. Just like I can get up and call King Charles Camilla's tampon or tampax, whichever one you want to call it. It is free speech. It is protected in law to offend, to insult, to use a natural situation satirically. It is free speech. If we're going down this road of censorship, free speech with responsibility, Shauna, refers to incitement to crime, incitement to violence, defamation, and those are the areas that the responsibility comes with. The responsibility doesn't come with insult. The responsibility doesn't come with moral. Moral is a sponge ball. How far moral bounces is how hard you throw that sponge ball to the wall. Everybody moral is different. Why Jamaica not get in an operation, not get in an operation over Obia? The bright thieving politician, them, are they different to ISAT saying St. Thomas people don't know if they do guard up there? One would have one here. One would have rather on a politician them thief found rather than a man just make a jokingly or a silly comment. Come on, Jamaican people. We don't have an apparatus wrong. And this is why everybody come take liberty that America can go take on a push in front. Go fight war because them tired of dead. Wake up out of the nonsense now, man. Wake up out of that nonsense of thinking that what we say should be guided by somebody else. As long as you're not defaming someone, as long as you're not, you know what them teach we at last school? My freedom to wave my hand in front of your face, tap at the point of your nose. The law protect me to wave my hand in front of your face as long as I don't touch your nose. The law protect me to be silly. The law protect me to be stupid in my speech. The law protect me to insult another person with my speech. But it doesn't protect me defaming someone. It doesn't protect me inciting hatred or violence. It doesn't protect me inciting uprising. What it doesn't do, it doesn't lay down a moral guidance of how one should speak. Just like how Everal Warmington did whole call the whole on chink dog fly and flee. I don't have to deal with it until Andrew was weak enough to deal with it. Why the whole honor don't talk about the corruption, the judicial debacle and disgrace Paula Llewellyn has brought the country in? Why were they when Babsy, a like Changla and a jump bands in a revival church where the whole of we know say Obia walk in a revival church? Is this about cartel? Is this about cartel or is this about moral? Whose moral is it though? Whose moral is it? Did you listen to the entire video when ISAT was on TikTok yesterday? Is it about ISAT? Is it about cartel or is it about freedom? Why are you all not talking about how much your constitutional rights? Why are you all not talking about how much your constitutional rights have been protected by this young man on many different occasions from this tyrannical government and its agencies? Why are you all not talking about that? A good day to bury, a bad day to bury good news. Why una not call for the DPP to go? Everybody in a tizzy about Obia. Why una not in a tizzy about injustice? A Obia where problem at Jamaica are injustice. And even Mota Baruka. Even Mota Baruka, me say jumping on the mainstream bandwagon and the social media bandwagon of chastisement. We are allowed to speak. Free speech is tainted in blood. We're allowed to use it. If we chose to be silly in public, we are allowed to do that. Talk about the 6 politicians who are under investigation, criminal investigation, and they're sitting in your parliament. You're paying them. ISAT is a private citizen. Some of them people in a legal profession attack, them not have no integrity neither. The whole of them mix up in all sort of embezzlement. Wasn't it fraud? Patrick Bailey gets struck off from the JLC. Wasn't there a murder in Patrick Bailey house? And them suck the motor baruka and the whole and nothing got talk about, rather than just a you talk about a simple gathering in a passing comment. Yes, Shana, the government want ISAT out. It doesn't mean ISAT should be censored. Isn't this the same government where they want to legalize obia? What is wrong with Jamaican people? Why can't Jamaican people not look at the bigger picture? Well, since Jamaicans now work obia, not because of not do it in a public, don't mean so not do it. When since Mota Baruka denounced obia, Mota Baruka is one when always telling us that obia is African spirituality. The whole honor will go to university to study theology, cytology, Christology, and all of the bloody theologies them for come turn pastor, especially on Adventist pastors. I don't the same African spirituality. It lead on back to the same thing we want to call obia and voodoo, on a bunch of hypocrite. On a bloody hypocrite Jamaicans, when on a picnic them get in a trouble. And when the family them get in a trouble and God walk to son a blood clot obia man no go. On a hypocrite. Jamaicans on a hypocrite. The obia walking liar them we up there with them color. Tell them come challenge me. The QCs and the KCs. Ask them if them don't have to be a part of the Freemason, to be a part of Her Majesty, to be called to Her Majesty Queen's Council Bar. I want to them pussy warrior, man. They're gonna pardon. Enough of uno. Look, Paul Muta Baruka. I went since Muta Baruka stopped promote obia. Uno don't notice that since COVID, Muta Baruka gone mainstream. Muta Baruka is censored and gagged. Don't gag the youth, Muta Baruka. Don't gag the youth. You are one of the most free speaking of us in Jamaica. I am a student of you and Peter Touch. I hit my mouth. Lego beast. So, are you and Peter Touch? Teach my mouth to become a Lego beast. Don't censor the youth. Not because you become coward, Muta Baruka. Not because you become a coward, don't come censor we. And you teach with it talk. Remember that. And you teach with it talk, so don't come censor we. On a Lego the youth shirt. Lego the youth shirt make him rejoice in his success. He stood up for your rights. He reinforced the protection of your fundamental rights with Paula Llewellyn and the judges in the appeal court and investigate them breach, flagrant breaches. And them something none forgot to talk about. That's what we forgot to talk about. And you, Mark Golden, come here. We swap Mark Golden. We swap vote for leadership. It is time for Mark Golden to grace us and tell us if he has confidence in the DPP. We want to know if Mark Golden has confidence in Paula Llewellyn's work after we know food. Look at the disgraceful debacle that Paula has drawn the country in. And for those of you who are saying the Privy Council style cartel, Jamaica created the mess. The Privy Council have a right to struck down the disgrace and send the mess to them to say, sort this shit out. That's all the Privy Council is doing. You create the mess, sort it out. No, the cartel, this whole case, what it has, the status of this case now, to explain it to you in layman terms, it has gone right back to when they were first arrested and is waiting to hear if they will be charged. This is where they're at now. So they're on remand because rightly so, and I've been saying this for years. Anyone in my family and friend when I talk to know I've been saying this for years. On the issue of jury tampering, everybody when we talk about cartel case for years can say this. On the issue of jury tampering, I always knew this was the way it's gonna go in the Privy Council. The Privy Council will not have a jury tampering. They take jury tampering very, very serious. Regardless of how corrupt this country called Britain is, the belly of corruption. But there are certain systems here which you can depend on them to work. And that's where we want Jamaica to reach, have workable systems. It's because the system or judicial system weren't working while we're in this 14-year debacle with the cartel situation. And we're at a stalemate now. But let me tell you where it will go from here. They have to buckle under the embarrassing pressure. The evidence they took Cartel and his co then on was tainted evidence, particularly the telecommunications evidence. Even though the Privy Council didn't hear that argument and or make a decision on it, they only rule on the juror tampering. This is because they're sending it back to the Jamaican system to clear up the mess which they created. To go back for a retrial now, after this judgment coming out of the Privy Council, even if the telecommunications evidence wasn't tainted, it will now have to pass the constitutional threshold, which it will not. And that was their strongest piece of evidence. Whatever they'll be waiting for, I hope they just do this application expeditedly and hurry up and get over with it, because they cannot go back for a retrial. They do not have evidence. One, to secure a safe conviction. Two, it is highly unlikely to get a jury pool that will not be corrupt or widely known about this case to give a fair trial. It is for the Chief Justice or whatever justice in the appeals court to bring this thing to a speedy resolution, because you cannot have them on remand after being there for so long. You cannot now have them pending there waiting if they will be charged or not. I'm not saying Cartel is guilty or isn't guilty. The Privy Council wasn't asked to determine if Cartel was innocent, if Cartel and his co-accused were innocent or guilty. The Privy Council was asked to look at the process and procedure the Jamaican justice system used to achieve the conviction. And all of us see, the court saw that it was a very fraudulent move, practice they used to achieve the conviction. Thereby, they struck it down and said to the Jamaican system, if you think you have evidence to charge him, go ahead. But the Privy Council know there isn't any evidence to charge. So the Privy Council want the Jamaica state to wrap this thing up. But there won't be a retrial. They don't have evidence for a retrial. They didn't have evidence from the start. Remember, it started with your investigators who botched and tampered with the evidence. The DPP proceeded with tampered evidence. The DPP gave instruction it was okay to go ahead with tainted juror pool. And them something they don't have to talk about, rather than one gathering where people weigh amongst you every day in Jamaica. You know, pick me away them on a husband and a family. Just like how anyone we can be Christian, we can be Obia Walker, to the whole of them a cultism. You know, see how ladies sir. You know, see thieving ladies sir. Thieving ladies sir. All when ladies sir get a church. Ladies are out there beg. Ladies are have a cash up, Zelle, and all sort are beg. And them something they want to figure talk about. How people are nyamming out in the name of God. How them are brainwashing. How them are use them cultism. How them are use them cultism pano under the banner of thus said the Lord. And then I say thieving ladies are. The whole of them will come to you with the thus said the Lord. And I drain the lifeblood out. Whenever ask anybody will go watch Lady Saw when Lady Saw did that Birmingham wedding. I will cuss that girl there, you see, because you see when people have influence and use it for brainwash people, I will dip up and down about the thief in Lady Saw. Ask anybody when Lady Saw was in Birmingham the other day. It was like a tirade of boasting. People have to get up out of the church and come out because them think a church them there go. Them never know, so them a come there for ladies to boast off and show off on them. But all of the big this and the big that what God give. And the same thieving ladies the same dancehall girl on stage in a church. The same dancehall girl on stage in a church. Till today, a report to no eye. I them something don't know if you got talk about. I start talking about gathering. I start talking about gathering now Carson where the pastor them a Carson. I start talking about gathering. We dip in him pocket and pay him client them legal fee. Which one on the pastor do it? Which one on the pastors are dipping at them pocket and I pay them client legal fee? Which one on the pastor? I take up poor people case because them sister poor people don't have it. Which one on a top tier, top shelf liar are going to court go tell judge say, I am not coming back to court another day because I'm not going to waste my client money. Most on a top tier thief them. Most on a top tier thief them for all 10 years. They might go the next day if you come to court because on have to pay them every date. Them going to come to court. And them something don't have to talk about Jamaicans. When you look on the thing them, when you look on the thing them where politicians and them friend them. When politicians and them friend them in a society, force enough to talk about. People like we, powerful and independent with we thought. We don't make people sense of it. We come out of slavery and we go back in there before that me walk in the sea. We're not going back there. This is why Unu a Jamaica can't get up go demonstrate. Because of Unu na fear. This is why Unu can't go on street side go shout Unu this content because Unu in a fear. Don't drive with in a fear. Somebody have to stand up. Nothing wrong with talk about Obia. I hit on a talk about in a church under a different disguise and a different banner. Your pastor them will go to university go study African spirituality. I did them research really them. It's not my fault when a pastor them come out of university and I lie to you and I tell you the truth because them know so them are going to get rich out of you. What is wrong with them? Call to Mark Golden. The time me hold on there talk about Isatan gathering. Call Mark Golden and tell Mark Golden, you all want to know if he has confidence in the director of public prosecution. Call Mark Golden and ask him, do you think the director of public prosecution should resign? And them something don't have concern about. Not about a gathering. Whether I go say yes or not, him entitled to say so. Free speech protect that. On the same bro God did one legalize Obia already. We're not too coward. We're not too guided by mainstream narrative. We're not too guided by what other people think and say. We must know if you tell people to fuck off. And everybody on a smile with a chuckle. We must know if you tell people, hey, enough. What happened in the Privy Council yesterday? Don't use because ISAT make a comment about gathering and bury the victory for the nation yesterday. The victory for the protection of the nation rights. Talk to your justice system, those who are in charge of your justice system. Talk to them about making sure the system of check and balance in the justice system work. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that embarrassing debacle yesterday where the state of Jamaica is about to be sued for millions. I've always been saying this is going to go down as an unsafe conviction or a miscarriage of justice, but the judge cited unsafe conviction. We cannot continue to turn our blind eye to the bigger picture and use the smaller fur to cover the big feather. It is time for we start think for ourselves and start make mainstream media think for we. What happened yesterday? The whole of the pussy them know it was a joke, but they want to drown out because them hate the youth and don't know say because of that. Them have it in for the youth. You don't know say because of that. Them use that narrative to take out the momentum out of that success yesterday. Regardless of the success for the nation, they just wanted to make the youth look bad. The same youth them when most of know a dance, so the whole of them are wear gathering and a sing about Obia song in it. Why do you think people in the legal profession? We must have integrity, yes, but it don't mean say our mouth should be straight jacketed. Nothing don't go so. Nothing don't go so. The fact that you're in the legal profession, it does. And we got our school of chat because of that them tell we you must not stay silent to injustice. And this is why Isaac is so successful in his challenges against the government. Wholly for the injustices that Isaac challenges successfully. A whole heap on a liar them. On a top shelf liar them we talk about morals and integrity. Turn a blind eye to the injustices what happen to Uno and Uno picnic them. Celebrate the youth. He is the one who is looking out for Jamaica. Correct him. You don't have to chastise him to correct him. But Uno no go on like say, moral written in a book out here. It's not. Moral is a sponge ball. Depends on how hard you throw it against the wall. It how far it bounces. No care how you see we heighty tighty and we nice and decent. Fuck with when say if we not tell you about your distracted and nasty wada. Moral is a sponge ball. Your moral when you just wake up out of bed in a peace and love and joy is quite different to somebody side swipe you or a jive you out or a jive and splash you in a rain. Moral is a sponge ball. When you take up this thing like say it have a code to follow. For someone cussing bad word is immoral. For me, cussing bad word is just fun. It's a dialect. But because you're all guided by what others tell you all to think, mainstream media don't dictate to me. Me no watch TV. Me may listen radio sometime. But me no watch TV. Coming and them people they dictate to me. And when me read paper, me quarrel about the lie them when me see na them. Me don't read them and take them lines hook and sinker. Start thinking independently for yourself. Start thinking independently for yourself and stop make the media. Ask Cliff Hughes if the 31st of December when him have him well-known batty party, if whole heap of fucking liars don't come there. I'm fed up of this fuckery with this whole thing about class and morals. Ask Cliff Hughes. Ask Cliff Hughes when him have him New Year's Eve batty party, how much liars come there? I mean, I talk about batty liar, I mean, I talk about liar with wife and picking it. Uno must shut up, man. Enough of Uno and Uno stray with morals. Because what upon the morals a stray with situation. Uno go take it up when Uno deem it necessary. Ask Cliff Hughes. Yes, grandmother Hughes. Ask Cliff Hughes about the married liar them. We attend him New Year's Eve batty party. Listen. Start to think independently. Start to think independently and stop being guided by the narrative of mainstream media or those on social media wish to advance particular agenda. Those people who are tear down Isaac, why them can't say, boy, at least emote put him in a problem, but you can depend on him when it comes to the legal field to do it right and get it right and win for Jamaica. Why you not can't say that? That's a part of the story. That is a part of the story. Don't use a bad situation to bury a very good story. What happened yesterday wasn't about cartel. It was about fairness for all of us in our justice system. This case was about our justice system not being able to tamper with, create evidence in order to put us behind bars. This was what we were protected from yesterday. We were also protected from jurors being tampered with and staying on the juror bench making a decision. That was what we were protected from. Yes, no, no, see that to talk about. No, see that to talk about. The hypocrisy. A holy pound of cigar obia man. Holy pound of church people. When I pick them get in a trouble and God now walk too fast. A holy pound of cigar obia man. But when don't want to have these debates in public, when want so round corner with them. Well, we are talking it out loud. And modern days now. Just like how the pastor them in a church I walk obia. The whole of didn't know say obia Kevin Simita walk. The whole of know say obia doing Campbell up a St. Thomas a walk. The whole of know say obia Ray Faster down a Westmoreland a walk. What is on a problem? Missy Holy Pano Garden Church then. The pastor up at the church, Kareem Gegre pastor, are the one who push you down and you drop a dot. How holy pano we a chat. Get up God, up your church there, but because them under prosperity gospel, them under prophetess, them under father. Look on thief and Father Ken. The Archbishop of Jamaica is a fucking thief. That's why Archbishop Ken would never dare to challenge me. Archbishop Ken would never dare to challenge me. The Archbishop of Jamaica is a thief and a scammer. Hands in the cookie jar, Father Ken. I dare you to challenge me. I've got your dossier, Father Ken. And then I come talk about one man talking about gathering. But talk about the pastor them pan pulpit. Lift up them frack and see what is under them pastors they're going. And that one if you go do. And stop talking about a gathering. And stop using a bad situation to bury a good day for justice. I want to thank you all very much for listening to my rant this evening. That is all I wanted was to rant about. I hope you all don't see me as don't see me as being disrespectful. It's not being disrespectful. In real life, this is how I am. This is how I speak. I know in the social media land. One will have to dip and dive in. But in a real life, well, no, I'm figure it. In a real life, a summiter, and let me tell you something, a way to avoid depression and anxiety is to make sure, say, when you go upon your pillar at night time, when you go upon your pillar at night time, You know, say to yourself, you know, say, me shouldn't tell him X and X or Y, me did want to tell him, you know. But I just, no, we now got bed go down with that backside upon your mind. We and spit it out. Whether you like it or not, me now got bed, go lay down and cha overhit and say, you know, say, me should have tell him, say, no, that me I go tell you at that time. You now make me go bed, go have anxiety and depression over what me should have tell you. Me I tell you, then make you go bed, that's what my mama said. Me I tell you, then make you go bed, go worry about what me tell you. Me not go bed, go worry about what me should have. No, sir. Not do it, not do it. No, I'm not doing it. Me I go bed with my conscience free. Me I go bed with my conscience free. So if you piss me off, you're gonna know. If you piss me off, you're going to know. Me now go bed, go lay down and say, boy, you know, say, me shouldn't tell him X. No, me go, as X fly up in my brain, so I go roll out by my tongue. Yeah, now go bed, go fret over what me shouldn't tell you. You go your bed, go fret over what me tell you. When me go on my bed, sleep me, I go there for sleep. Because nothing upon my chest. That's why some of us are so depressed. Because when we talk, we have to search for the words to make everybody except me, we talk the word them feel good. Me have to look out for granny ego, grandfather ego, mama ego, pastor ego, police ego, lawyer. No, I'm not running an ego nursery. Nor do I have a crush over here for people who needs caressing. I do not caress egos. If you have your ego, go and look for a nursery where somebody had a patient, where somebody had a patient fit tande and rock your ego to bed. I never learned that at school. I never learned ego caressing in school. And more we're becoming modern. People are going to ego university and coming out with big expectations for you to rock their ego. Me not join them class then. At university, they call me the radical one. That them used to call me radical Wayne. Because what I do not like to do, and them something in love university campus, you know, I do not have to speak politically correct. When I'm on a university campus, or when I'm speaking research based, that's why I love to write essay, because I have the opportunity and the power to give you the full length of my tongue. Get out of the psyche where when you talk, other people must be comfortable. If they want to be comfortable, get out of your space when you're speaking. It's as simple as that. If you want to be comfortable, get out of my space when I'm speaking, because I am not speaking to make you comfortable. I am speaking about to make me comfortable. You see, the minute you start speaking and you start cater to everybody's ego, you're never going to get your point across. Because for that whole journey, you have to be crafting a narrative that is comfortable to some, but it's not really who you are and what you are. Fakeness not get we not nowhere. Fakeness don't get we nowhere. That's why you say classism. I never understand why people buy it and why people celebrate it. You know how the people them when the class society depressed? Those who call themselves upper class and upper middle class, do you know how depressed those people are? Even though them show off on you say them got a mortgage, them got a house, them got a car, and them go on multiple holidays and this and do you know how much debt they are in just to maintain class? Do you know how much debt middle class and upper middle class people are in? Unless if it's those who have business or in the property market. Do you know how depressed those people are? Do you know how entrapped class is? One mustn't aspire to certain things. Do you know how entrapped class is if you're not doing it from a business point of view? You have a house, but the bank owns it. You have a car, but the finance company owns it. You go on luxurious holiday, but when you come back, the credit card suck your mother tarot set not out. Class is quite so a depressing society. So when you hear these people, these so-called top shelf, talk about class and morals, tell them to stuck it where the sun will never get a chance to shine. Literally, tell them to shove it. Nobody now come out here with them subjective views, their own opinion, and come put it upon me and as objective view. It's a broader thinking or norm for the collective. For who says who? I didn't wake up thinking along with somebody else or somebody else in my head. So I don't know how that what a person there think it's going to be right for me. Be independent and unique. I hate to not come here for. Or not come here to be sheep. Or don't come here to be sheep. This is why, as a people, we're in the state of mind where we're in. Because from why people give with a book with Prince Charles, by the grace and mercy for the people of Scotland and Wales, authorized to be translated in a 1611 and give it to on a whole very dear to the narrative. Don't know we kill about it when we talk about it and tell us we are blaspheming, we're ungodly. At that same sheepish narrative, we're on a hold so dearly to. This is why, as a race of people, wherever we are on this planet, we can't thrive because we've been held back by other people's views, other people's narrative, and other people's ideology. And that's all we want. I make we stagnant. That's why we are so stagnant. That's why our economy can't grow. That's why our society can't grow. We're a stagnant race of people because we stop think. We just let anybody force the narrative pan with one, we develop pan it and go along with it. But listen, if you want to see me think, say me mad. And this is not fun. If you want to see me think, say me mad, let me hear Christian people turn up and justify the Bible and I say, God said and God did. Motherfucker, were you there? Half of you don't even understand what you're reading. Half of you can't even contrast and compare the multitude of contradiction in the King James Bible. Because what you all don't understand, you were given 66 novels compiled in a one motherfucking book by the British because them are going to use it to control you, and it did its job, but none of you don't want to learn. Say, enough of this thing. Let us do for self. How much 100 years ago Marcus Garvey tell you? Look on there now. Look at China. Do for self. Look at China and Singapore. You think China and Singapore did sit down and develop? Wait for white people. Wait for white people will destroy them and destruct them. Come save them every day. We get up. We want white people to solve the problem. Sit down. Sit down, it will solve. This is why we are at an embarrassing stage where we still have to go to the white man, the crooked, corrupt, murderers have blood on him shoulder, white man. Every time you look on the white man hand, you say blood. Every time you look on the white man hand, you say blood. Your mother blood, your father blood, your children blood. But we still have to go back to that motherfucking crook for justice. That's the state we are in as a people. Because no one wake up. We don't want to wake up. We don't want to sit down and criticize. Them have to hate me, Colleen. And listen, Colleen, me strive from people hating me. The more you hate me, the more me strive. But one thing people don't want, my family and everybody know about this. When I tell you my mind, I got tell you my mind. If you don't want to go to your bed, go sleep when I'm done. It's your business. But I got tell you my mind. Or stagnant. Or stagnancy in everything we do comes from up here. We have stagnant thinking. You have stagnant thinking, people. We stop thinking for ourselves. Drop the Christian Bible. It was a con. Use up your stuff. When you put down the Bible, you would be surprised to know the amount of things we tell you things, but you cannot hear. You won't be able to hear because your portals have been blocked by all sorts of other information and narrative coming from all sorts to misguide and deceive you. Your mind is the most powerful thing you have. Your words are the most powerful tool you can use. And that's why nobody now silence me. And nobody now condition my mind. My mind is a bird, yo. My mind is a bird. I'm a very rebellious person. Me do listen, you see, anywhere me go, the first thing me I go start look for is something to rebel about. And if not dead, me will search for it, create it, and make it to rebel about. Why do I do that? Just to make you know from the first time you meet me, especially in a workplace, don't fuck with a one because him don't have no sense. It's just simple that. Don't because him don't have no sense. But if we don't start think for ourselves and do it for ourselves, nobody else now gonna come do it through it. This is why we're in this long waiting cycle for political and economic freedom. When all of the other countries who went through Western barbarity and Western civilized and Western colonization have really lifted themselves out of it because of a mindset. Mindset. They've lifted themselves out of it because of a mindset. The reason why we're still in the dilemma we're in economically, politically, socioeconomic is because we're in a mindset that benefits others and it doesn't benefit us. Why we are the richest people material wise on the planet, but economically wise, we are the poorest. Mindset. Stop make people control and censor. Of course, free speech comes with responsibility. The responsibility is not to break the law with your free speech. But if it is something that doesn't break the law, then your free speech protect you to say it, albeit that somebody else may not like it. Thank you very much for being here with us on Global TV this evening. Join us back here on Sunday night when you will have a more normal way. But sometimes you have to get into the rant and all of that. But this is how life goes. Thank you very much for being here. And we look forward to see you all right back here Sunday evening for another people's point of view. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. And if you cannot be good, be very careful. Remember to hit the like button before you leave. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend and enjoy yourselves.